Willie D Live.
Reggie Sweet Johnson. I feel like we need a round of applause, man. We need some of that, some of that,
Right.
Normally when they call your name, people start cheering, you hear thousands of people clapping and stuff like that. But I'm doing the best that I can do right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think y'all understand, but this is one of my best friends in the world. We go way back. I'm talking about damn near the Pampers. His daddy and my uncle used to hang out together, and we started hanging out together, and we started boxing, I think, the same year.
Yeah, I think I was 12.
Yeah,
we was 12.
No, 11. We were 11. It was the summer. It was that summer going into our 6th grade year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That was something. Yeah, man. Yeah, but he kept Reggie kept it going, and eventually became a 3-time world champion. One of the unsung heroes of boxing. A lot of people who are not really boxing like real fans may not know, because Reggie keep a low profile. It's always kind of kept a low profile, and he's not a loud dude. He's kind of cat that just kind of put his head down and go about his business. But I wanted to say to you, man, first and foremost, man, thank you for all of the exhilarating moments, because I've seen a lot of your fights in person, and I've had some of the best times hanging out with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. When I think about it, what's that fight that you had that made you say, man, I got it. I can really do it. I'm talking about that guy that you thought that you was going to have trouble with, and you ran through him, and you said, man, I'm really cold at this shit.
Well, I think I had that mindset when I was a young kid. The first day I put gloves on, my late uncle, the late Kenneth Iron Man Walker, we lost him about a year ago. Iron Man.
Salute.
Yeah, he's known as Iron Man, and in the hood, Iron Head. But he took me to the Salvation Army Boys Club, and you familiar with that place. Introduced me to the late Mr. James Carter. I remember the first day I went, they put me in there with a kid that had like 30-plus amateur fights. And to make a long story short, to speed it up, I just remember when they was taking the headgear and the gloves off, and the late Mr. James Carter, who became my father figure boxing coach.
Shout out to Mr. Carter.
The late Mr. James Carter, who was the head coach at the Salvation Army Boys Club. He said, young man, you could be champion of the world. And of course I heard him, but I was just so excited after I heard him about, I've found my niche. This is what I want to extend all my time to, boxing. And it started, and I lost my first amateur fight at PABA. Big shout out to Reverend Ray Martin. Got disqualified for slapping. I think the third round they stopped it because I wasn't turning. They had the white on the gloves. Wasn't turning the gloves over. Lost my second fight. Lost my third fight. And what's so crazy about it, riding back, well, you remember this, riding back in them vans, and all them guys was trying to figure out, man, they thought something was wrong with me because I was still happy. Normally when you lose, you but I was just still happy. I was just love what I was doing, man. And then I lost my fourth amateur fight. And then I won my fifth fight. And I think the next time I lost a fight, I was fighting in the JO Nationals. I think we was in Dallas, Fort Worth, in Texas. It just, my career took off. I moved fast in boxing as a young man.
You were 17 when you turned pro, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But to back it up just a little bit, I started like Muhammad Ali at age 12. Made the USA boxing team at age 16. As a matter of fact, I grew up fast. I have two sisters, Angela and Andrea Johnson. They're twins. My late mother, who had me when she was 14, Norma Jean Johnson, rest in peace, mother. And my father, who was, hanging out with your uncle. I think your uncle was a little smarter than my dad, though. I never heard anything about him getting in trouble, but my dad did all that time, and
Yeah, well, Unc got in trouble. He just went to the boys' home.
yeah. Well,
Back then, it was a boys' home. So.
well, my dad went to the man home. He was
Yeah.
locked up for a lot of years, man.
Yeah.
And but at the end of the day, before my dad passed in 2003, he's got his life together, and think about it, man. All the stuff that he did, he ended up working for those companies that saved people on the street. And I remember he used to call me sometime driving around in the van with, some of those people that he used to be was in the, in the van. So, that was great to see my dad make that change. But just remembering my dad being locked up, my two sisters was younger. They couldn't go with my mother, but I went with my mother to see my dad behind this, glass windows, and it was like, when he's coming home, to fast forward, speed it up. But my dad got his life together, and he lived a good life, and I think we lost him in 2003. So.
Yeah, that's the only dad I knew, the good dad. I knew the good side.
Yeah.
I never knew that gangster side.
No, you never knew it.
I definitely heard about it.
Melvin knew about it.
Yeah. Shouts out to my Uncle Melvin Dennis, one of the great boxing legends out there. You came up in a household primarily raised by your mother, and, it was you and your two sisters. How much pressure did you have on you to turn pro and start helping out financially?
Well, back then, I think when I was coming up, especially when I found boxing, when I think in retrospect, I wouldn't consider it was pressure. My mother used to always tell me I was the man of the house, and, had my sisters, and I was very, man, if someone looked at my sisters back in those days, man, I would, I'm balling my fists up ready to fight. But to make a long story short with that question you just asked, man, having my two sisters, having my mother, keep in mind, my mother had me when she was 14. So back in those days, excuse me, I can even remember going to school, high school with my mother. Back then, you could take, if you had a kid, they had some type of program where you could take your kids to school with you. And I always tell everybody, well, my mother didn't go to Wheatley. I say we went to Wheatley because I used to go to school with my mother. And man, it's just thinking about that, talking about that, it hurts. My mother's gone, my father's gone, and Will, you know me, I'm a picture guy. I love pictures, man. I was raised up with pictures and traveled with photographers, man, and I love pictures. And every night before I go to sleep, a lot of people don't know this here, that's how I go to sleep. I always look at pictures.
I didn't know that. You don't be looking at my pictures.
Oh, didn't I just send you two the other day? I was looking at your pictures. Didn't I just send you two pictures?
You did.
Yeah,
you
that's
did.
why. See, I was looking at you.
That's crazy, man. So that's therapeutic to you.
Yeah, very therapeutic. Hey, man, there's nothing more. There's nothing bigger than pictures, man. Nothing bigger than frozen time.
Have you ever thought about becoming a photographer on the side? Like, because you do a lot. You take a whole lot of damn pictures. I mean,
I
got a picture of everybody.
I got pictures.
Every single event that ever happened.
Yeah, I even got that picture when you were stealing the candy out there. What?
You got that picture?
Hey, you right though. I love pictures, man. I love pictures, and big shout out to the late Oscar Skip Davis, who I knew since I was a kid. He used to take pictures at the amateur shows, and I used to always tell the man, all right, when I become pro and champ, you gonna be my... And when I lived in L.A., he was there with another fighter and saw me, say, boy, you remember what you used to tell me? And from that day forth, he was with me every day. And, he's part of the reason why I have over 75,000 pictures.
Wow.
Oscar Skip Davies. You know Mr.
How
Davies.
do you know you got over 75,000?
Cause, yeah.
Well, they got. Did you transfer them to digital yet?
I got them on
'Cause
thumb
it's easier.
drives, digital,
No.
all that. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I got pictures galore. Yeah.
That's a lot of damn pictures. When you look at those pictures, I remember one picture you sent me, and it was a group picture of us. It was like me, you,
Four of
and
us. Right?
it was like no, it was me, you, and probably about 20 people, and maybe 15, 20 people. But out of that number, I think it was like 4 or 5 was dead.
Oh.
You know, it was like Moo
Oh
Chato.
yeah. I think I know. I think I know the picture you're talking
You know, your
about.
dad
I think it was 12
was
pictures.
in that picture.
I think 9 or 10 of them was gone. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's what did I mention that when I sent you that picture?
Yeah.
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing about memory lane, that it's like a burden and a curse to go back down memory lane, because when you go down memory lane, you think about the good times, but then you think about the people who are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And that is painful.
And especially when those people have really played a major role in your life, like the Mr. James Carter. You remember the fight of Warren Williams? I think I had
Shots
just
at one.
yeah, I had just turned 16, and
Hard hitter.
Yeah, very hard hitter, and muscle, looked like a bodybuilder. But Mr. Carter, I remember that day we was at those fights, and they made the fight for me to fight him that night, and everybody was looking at Mr. Carter like he was crazy, this and that, and
You're talking about the amateurs, right?
in the amateur, in the amateur,
right.
and I had just turned 16, and they thought Mr. Carter had lost his mind, put me in there with a grown man, and looked like a bodybuilder, and you know, I beat Warren Williams in a 3-round decision. And until this day, you know,
Warren want a rematch? Warren said you didn't win, huh?
whenever I see him, he always talk about a rematch. But you know, Warren was like Kennedy and Dennis Hitman Benjamin. You know, my uncle them,
Yeah.
who got me into boxing. He was on that level with them when he started. But he respect that, and you know, I be with him sometime whenever I haven't seen him in a while. But I mean, he'll bring that up. I don't even talk about it, but he'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.